All right, so we're at about 4:17 right now. If you want to, go ahead and stand up, stretch, wiggle a little bit. If you need to get, or not, you don't have to. If you want to keep sitting, that's totally fine. If you're already sinking into a civic engagement coma, I understand. My name is Rob Tabor. I'm the chair of Cape Fear Indivisible in Fayetteville. And I first became really civically involved in Fayetteville in 2008 when I stepped into a campaign office on Old Street in downtown Fayetteville. And there were people of every background, of every race, religious belief, value system, atheist, agnostic, Buddhist, Jewish, Christian, Muslim, coming together in support of a candidate that they believed in, that they had hoped for. And this was the Obama election in 2008. And Reverend Barber has talked about this as the third Reconstruction, this possibility of a true multiracial democracy, where we're all respected, we're all valued, our leaders work for us, our representatives represent us, and take us into mind as they're crafting policy. I'm not going to relitigate the entire history since 2008, the blowback in 2010. But that was when I caught a vision of what America can be, what reformers and activists and volunteers and people on the block have been pushing for America to be for over 200 years. That was my introduction to this vision. And so, first off, I'm really proud of all of you for showing up today. We have 100 people here today in the middle of North Carolina. It's the summer of an off year. Being an odd-numbered year, we have municipal elections, but we have no federal elections other than special elections this year. We still have 100 people here. Lots of people are graduating from high school. It's a busy time. It's summer. People are moving. I close on a house in 20 days. But we're here because we care about our community, we care about our state, we care about our nation. And that is terrific. I'm going to tell you a little bit about Indivisible. So the reason I got involved in Indivisible is because of three things. One, it teaches civic engagement. It's for learning. They give you guides on how to call your reps, how to call your senators. And by the way, call your senators. Call Senator Burr and Senator Tillis about health care. She's got a nice briefing on health care. They're going to take it up in the Senate starting this week. Give them a call. So it teaches us how to be more civically involved, how to do things beyond voting. The other reason that I decided to commit time in my life to Indivisible is because of its two principles. One, building inclusive communities. Too often in history, I'm a historian, so I talk about history a lot. Too often in history, it's been democracy for some and authoritarianism for everyone else. And so Indivisible is about building inclusive, democracy-focused communities. The other thing that Indivisible is focused on is about evidence-based public policy, like the doctors were talking about. Finding out what works. If something's not working, noticing that, and using legislative time to come up with solutions so that people are served, so that people have health care, they have education, they have food, they have clothing, they have shelter. Those things that are needed for them to be entrepreneurs, for them to earn a living, for them to have decent quality of life. And so that's why I got involved in Indivisible. Now, the reason I personally worked so hard to invite Congressman Hudson here is because he's a new congressman for Fayetteville. Due to gerrymandering and the reshuffling of lines, he had previously represented Cumberland County, and I wanted to get to know him. You know, I want to get to know my congressman. He's my representative, which is why I made sure we invited him. And we worked with his office for, 2-3 months, setting out little various things. He talks about how it's a raucous town hall and how he doesn't like this. Is this a raucous town hall? And even if we disagree with him, there's this amazing invention called poster board. And what other town halls have done is they've taken red poster board and green poster board. And on the red poster board, they write disagree, and on green poster board, they write agree. So that the crowd, the people, can let their opinions be known while we can still hear the congressman and engage in conversation. And I think that's a terrific idea. And, you know, I had hope for Congressman Hudson. He came up through constituent services. This is the other reason we call congresspeople, right, is if we have an issue with the VA. If we have an issue with Medicare and Medicaid, we call their office, they try to get it solved. He came up through that. He knew something about being a representative. And initially, I continued to have hope. I had a good chat with his healthcare staffer. about various policies back in January, and I pointed out why we need essential health benefits, why we need these different coverages. I thought we could have a conversation. However, his office has retreated, it has closed off. And that's a problem, because he's no longer representing the people. And we've learned in the past few months a few things about Richard Hudson, looking at his votes, looking at his activities, looking at what he posts on Facebook. We learned that Richard Hudson will serve his extreme donor base. We learned that Richard Hudson will meet with the Republican Men's Club of Moore County behind a private gated community wall. And we learned that he will drop by private schools in Fort Bragg for photo opportunities. That's what we've learned about Richard Hudson. So while he'll continue to represent us, I'm done thinking about Richard Hudson. There's an old story from the Obama campaign in 2008, where Obama would tell his staffers, the one thing we know is that President George W. Bush will not be president next year. Let's build from that. The one thing we know is that Richard Hudson is not interested in representing the people of North Carolina. So here, I'm pleased to talk about what comes next. And what comes next, what Cape Fear Indivisible will be focused on, is what happens next. What do we want our representatives to do? And so now it's my pleasure to introduce someone who is exploring a congressional run for District 8. Yay. So the person we're introducing today is Mr. Harold Eustache. Did I get that right? Eustache? Who is the founding attorney of Eustache Law Offices, LLC. His practice focuses on healthcare, civil litigation, consumer rights, unfair and deceptive trade practices. So, Mr. Eustache, he knows where he's coming from. He has a long corporate background working for the pharmaceutical industry in various capacities, working as sales reps, teaching sales, working on the business side. And then in the mid-20aughts, he went to law school at Central. He said, it's time to give back, it's time to fight for consumers. These are the principles I care about, which you'll hear more about him from a moment. And I want to talk about some of the things that he's done since 2007, since he got his JD and started his law office. After his extensive career in healthcare, he started his own practice in 2007. He has litigated cases in district and circuit courts of Baltimore and Prince George's counties in Maryland. He keeps a home in DC for corporate purposes, but he's been in Charlotte and in the Charlotte area for well over 20 years. And he has negotiated substantial student loan settlements with local for-profit colleges on behalf of student clients. Just a quick note. Yeah. And we've seen with our current president some of the shady things that can happen with so-called colleges that are for-profit. In 2014 and 2015, Mr. Eustache worked as a contract litigation attorney for a prominent Washington, D.C. law firm, assisting and advising the public clients practice team in a large and complex litigation related to the opioid drug epidemic in rural areas across America, helping for us to kick dependency and be a healthier country. Harold Sr. and June, they're the parents of 3 children and the grandparents of 3 grandchildren, and they reside in the Charlotte area for 25 years and in Harrisburg, which is in Cabarrus County, for over 13. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Eustache.